So hello, Dr. Mandel here. I just thought I'd share a recipe with you guys that I'm making for recipe for a simple banana bread. We were lucky to get a whole bunch of bananas from our local grocery store for a really big discount. It was a big bag of bananas. There's even more than this. Several bananas, lots of bananas, and more bananas. And whenever I see an abundance of bananas, I'll buy them and then I'll freeze a lot of them. I'll dehydrate some of them. My husband has some in the dehydrator, and then I'll make desserts out of them like banana bread. So basically, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm doing two types of banana bread today. I'm going to be doing one with rice flour and one with regular wheat flour. So that's for those who have the wheat-free, gluten-free allergies, who have what's called celiac. Right in this bowl is eggs. I have eggs, butter, sugar, vanilla. I think that's it in there. And then this bowl I have mashed bananas. Hopefully you can see it really well. And then in the mixing bowl I have rice flour. Now some of the rice flour I made by grinding up actual regular white flour, and this is the first time I've done this. So if you try it and it works, let me know. It didn't grind up the flour really finely. It didn't grind up the rice really finely, but it grinded it up well enough to where I think I can use it as flour. I might need to use a different type of grinder. When I was reading about it, there's some recipes that talk about using a mill, some type of a mill. So that's another. Hi. Someone shaking their head in the background. But I'm going to check this out. This is from the based on the recipe that I got, and they used a regular blender. I looked at several different recipes, and someone in the background's going, no. So anyway, I'm going to mix all this up. So basically, I'm going to take the mashed bananas and put it in with the butter, eggs, and sugar, and vanilla combo. So I just put that in there like that. Mix it together. And this can also be made into not just bread, but it can be made into actual muffins. If you have some muffin tins, you can do that with it. So just gonna mix it up really well. And then I'm gonna add it to the flour mixture. In the flour mixture, I have rice flour, 2 cups of rice flour, a teaspoon of baking soda, a teaspoon of baking powder, and I think a quarter teaspoon of salt. So that's about it. And as far as the vanilla goes, you could do a half teaspoon of vanilla, so that would work. So just blend it up, all of that, the bananas, the butter, the sugar, and all that together. I'll try to remember to put the recipe and the description below, that way if you want to make it yourself. This isn't my very own recipe. I just looked up online wheat-free, gluten-free banana bread recipe. And I looked up a recipe for rice flour, like I said, and there's different recipes for rice flour. Let's just put it that way. I'm not saying what I did is the best. And you probably could get your rice flour maybe finer if you have, I think, also another recipe I found, they were saying something about getting a blender that specifically will grind it to that powdery texture. It wasn't extremely powdery, but it was powdery. Let me go and let my cat out. Hold on. My cat wants to go outside. He's being really patient. And you want to go outside? A little interruption in the recipe. You want to go outside? Is that what you want to do? You going outside? Let's see. You going outside? You want to look at the camera? Okay, he's just going to sit there. I'll just leave the door open so he can go out there if he wants to. Still, I'm scratching at the screen. Anyways, so back to it. I hope you guys are enjoying your day today, by the way. And I hope that this is something easy that you find could be easy for you to fix yourself at home. I mean, if you come across a large abundance of bananas and you want to make something that's wheat-free, gluten-free. I'm going to make 2 different batches, like I said. I'm going to make one that's wheat-free, gluten-free, and one that has it's wheat flour. So 2 different batches. I've cut down considerably on the amount of wheat that I eat, and the amount of dairy products that I consume. I do still use dairy products in the things that I eat, still a little bit here and there, like butter, and sometimes here and there milk, but I prefer to use like almond milk or coconut milk. So I think this is blended up really good. So let me grab the recipe. Like I said, I looked it up online, and I'm so old school, I write down the recipe on paper, and then I put it into my binder, which is a recipe book. So after we got all this mixed up and everything, what you want to do is stir the banana mixture into the flour mixture. So that's pretty easy. That's the thing about baking and cooking. A lot of people don't want to do it because it takes so much time, but it's pretty easy as long as you follow the recipe for the most part. So I'm not saying I'm perfect. I've messed up recipes before, but I wouldn't say messing up. It's just experiences. You know, you live and you learn from the experience. So I'm going to start up the blender, so cover your ears. Might help if I plug it up. Cooking can be a very therapeutic and relaxing thing. I'm going to move these 2 bowls out of the way over by the sink so I can wash these out. And get all that cleaned up for when I do another recipe, which will be the one with wheat flour. So let's put this butter over here. And now we're all clear, you can see better. I'm going to see if I can turn the phone in a direction where you'll be able to see what I'm doing better. So I'm about to use the blender. So hopefully this phone won't slip. I'm using a knife to hold it in place. I know that's probably not a great choice, but move some of the stuff out of the way. You can use any kind of sugar you want. We have white sugar. I know it's not my preferred method of sweetener. I would prefer the brown sugar, or honey, or agave nectar. But these are other choices if you want to use alternatives other than like sugar, white sugar. I did use salt too, if I didn't tell you. And with the mixture of the flour and baking soda and baking powder, I put salt in there too. So just a dash of salt, not that much. You don't need much. Okay. So I'm gonna blend the wet mixture with the dry mixture. So here we go. Cover your ears. It's gonna get loud. Alright, let's see. Okay, here we go. Well, not too loud, right? I can show you as it blends, see what it looks like. Let's get really professional here. Just trying to be careful that I don't shut the phone off, but yeah. At this point, you could probably add nuts in there if you wanted to. I have a few nuts, almonds, but I don't know if that's enough to make a really difference. So I'm just gonna maybe save that for the like at the end. I could chop them up and then put it on top, because it's kind of nice to put that on top of the banana bread as a little crunchy nut crust on top. So that's an idea if you want to try that out. So this looks like it's blended really well. So what's the next? So after this is blended up, basically all you're going to do is pour it into one of these glass this glass loaf pan. Like I said, you can use some muffin tins if you want to make banana nut muffins or banana muffins. You don't have to put nuts in it, but if you got them, use them. I don't have a lot of nuts. I just have about this much. So I'm not going to, like I said, I'm going to do what I'm going to do with it. Maybe towards the middle of the baking process, I'll put the chopped nuts on top of the banana bread, and then it kind of it'll bake into it and have a little crunchy crust, like I said. Okay, so now what we're going to do is unplug this blender and put the banana bread mixture in there. Definitely make sure your pans are well oiled. I just used butter. You can use coconut oil. You can use other types of oils. Use oils that are appropriate for baking, I would suggest. Olive oil, probably not a good idea. But yeah, just stuff that's comfortable with baking. My son recently introduced me into using peanut oil for cooking instead of canola oil. So might be better for you. So let me put this over to wash. And basically all I'm going to do is just take a big spoon and just ladle it into this pan. So try to make sure that you get your pan well oiled. If not, it'll stick. It'll stick to the pan. You'll be able to get it out somehow, but it'll stick to the pan. So not a big deal. But so this is the wheat-free, gluten-free banana bread. And it's worth a try. Tell me what you think of it. This is the first time I've made it, a wheat-free, gluten-free version of banana bread. So we'll see how this turns out. It looks like it's going to make a lot. And I believe it takes probably about, how long does it take to cook? It will probably take about half an hour to an hour for this to bake. Banana bread usually takes a long time to bake. So, and you want to also preheat your oven at 350 before you start. And I oil up my pans before I start too. So yeah. So yeah, the next loaves are going to be not wheat free. They'll be regular old banana bread. And with a little, probably something added to it. So anyway, want to find out about that, check out my other channel. So what I'll do is hopefully my phone will be charged and everything, and it can show you how it turned out when it's done. So that'll be a half an hour to an hour from now. So this is what it looks like. If I don't come back with showing you what it looks like after it's done, I'll at least come back the next day and show you. You know, so it's a pretty easy recipe. You can look it up online. It's not hard to do. Just type in banana bread. I don't want to tell people a specific recipe, but I got it all over my hands. But thanks for joining me for this is part 1 of how to make wheat-free, gluten-free banana bread. My first time, so let me see how it works, and I'll share with you the results of it. Hopefully it works out okay, and stay tuned for part 2. So thanks for joining me. Thanks for subscribing to my channel. Thanks for the likes and shares, and thank you for your kind comments. Let me know if you tried making a recipe for banana bread that's wheat-free and gluten-free. And I will see you in part 2.